You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Melissa Pilgrim is our choice for your next Disney vacation. You can reach her at amagicalpilgrimage@gmail.com. We thank her for her support.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las puertas.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we got the gang back together. We got Brian and I'm Mikhailo. This is Miles from Main Street. How are we doing today, Brian?
Hey, Mikhailo. It's good to see you again. It's been a while since I've seen your bright face.
I know. I bet you've missed it.
Oh, of course. Of course I have. So, hey, we're talking top 10 dining experiences at Disney. I'm excited for this one. I always enjoy talking dining.
Yeah, I honestly almost half of my Disney experience is dining. There's often times that we will go on trips just because we've got dining reservations. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've got my list ready to go, ready to talk about this stuff. How about you, Brian?
I definitely am ready. But before we get started, please go share and subscribe and like this stream on YouTube. We, of course, are recording to go live on the podcast, as we always have, or not go live, but you know what I mean. We're recording live right now. It's going to be a podcast on Tuesday. How's that sound? But yeah, we need you to come on out and share the show with a friend or a family member, and it'd be great to have everyone join us. Shows are live Thursday nights, and new episodes will be on Tuesday. So I'm excited to talk about this. And the other thing, we need to make sure that everybody that's watching, please comment. We want to know what you guys think of this top 10 and what your top 10 might be.
Definitely, yeah. Let us know what your top 10 for Disney dining is and what some places that you've been to that you really like are. Anyways, Brian, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do top to bottom or bottom to top?
I didn't really put mine in any kind of a order, so.
Really? You just put 10 in there?
Whatever came to mind.
Okay. Well, mine is in order, so I'm gonna start from the bottom and go up. So, I'll start. My first one is an interesting one. Kristen and I talked about this at length. That it's one of our favorite places to go to eat at Disney, but it's not so. On my list, there's going to be lots of signature dining, lots of sit-down dining, and stuff like that. Technically, this is sit-down dining, but it's not signature. You don't need a reservation to go eat at it, and that is Cellier Canteen. We are just crazy about Cellier Canteen. The food there is so good and so unique. Not only that, but the theming in that whole area. It's not even, I mean, honestly, the cafeteria feels like a cafeteria, but a cafeteria in Pandora. That's probably the coolest part about it. There's nothing like too over the top about what's going on, but you definitely get that like Pandora feeling. There's a lot of like woven, they're almost kind of like tapestries, but they look like plants that are woven together and stuff like that. So we really like the theming there, and the food is really interesting. They really kind of tried to make it not your typical like park food, not really even your typical food in general. Like a lot of the dishes have just like boba bubbles or whatever those are in them, just to kind of like spice things up. But I really like it. The one of the standouts is the cheeseburger pod. And people say this all the time, and it's so correct that they taste like McDonald's cheeseburgers. I don't know how they did this, what they did, but Disney made these things taste like McDonald's cheeseburgers. And you'd think that'd be like a weird thing, like, oh, you can get McDonald's anywhere. But it's really cool to be kind of like in this really weird themed area, and like with all these other really weird themed food, and then like have something that like takes you back to something that you know really well. So those are some of my standouts for it, and I really enjoy it, and it's almost always a must do when we go to Animal Kingdom.
Yes, I love going to Satuli Canteen. We had to go there once just because we needed to get a cheeseburger pod, which, by the way, is Joe Rohde's family's recipe. So, I don't know how they got that flavoring. I mean, I think it has something to do with the ratio of ketchup and mustard that's in it, probably. But yeah, they're really good. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend somebody go there, and I think that's a great choice to put on your top 10. Now, you said that's at the bottom?
Yeah, that's number 10, bottom of the list.
Can't wait to hear what else you've got. I will start at the bottom of my list. I'm going to try to reorganize a little bit as I go here. So I just kind of came up with my list and threw it together. So I do have to ask, if anyone watching, do you hear my voice echoing? Because it's driving me crazy, and that's why I keep pausing a little bit here. So just wondering if that's feeding back to you guys. All right, so I'm looking at my first one as Sasagula Floatworks.
Ooh.
This is located within Port Orleans French Quarter, and they have the typical fast food or food court type of offerings that they might have, but they also include Creole and Cajun dishes, New Orleans style stuff, red beans and rice, jambalaya. And when we were there the first time, the beignets were actually served from inside Floatworks, but they recently have set aside a new spot where you can get beignets all day long. And it works so slick. Like, we were there at Mardi Gras, and there was a super long line, and they were just churning people through. Like, we did not wait in that line very long, and I was amazed by that. So you do a really good job with that there. But the food at Sasagula is so good. I'm a sucker for New Orleans food anytime. So I think Sasagula is a great place to visit. Maybe on a Disney Springs day, because I love that boat ride from the French Quarter over to Disney Springs, or the other way around. I've often said, go to Disney Springs, and when you're ready to take a break, get on the boat, head over to Sasagula, get some beignets, and then you can head back to Disney Springs and hit more shopping and more fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And beignets out at Port Orleans is almost a must do whenever we're on a trip too. We always kind of try to like think of like, oh, okay, like if we're here, like maybe we can take the boat over to Port Orleans and get beignets. So that experience, just getting beignets in general out at Port Orleans, is always a must do for us. We really like that.
Yes, the beignets are a must stop. They always have good flavors of them too, right? Like specialty flavors that they'll have. And if you go after 4:00, you can get boozy ones, which can be really good. So
cool. Yeah. So back to my list. Number 9 on my list is Skipper Canteen. This one is, again, there's a lot of these are themed, like really well. So that's kind of like why I enjoy them. But this one also has some really, really good food. Some of the standouts for me are the Dan Dan noodles. Those are so good. And they have some really cool drinks too that you can get. But probably the coolest thing is that the skippers are all really funny. They're skippers from the ride that just kind of have this great sense of humor, and they have all these really good jokes. And then the extra cherry on top is that whole, well, they have not the whole area, but they have a room that is themed to the SEA. And that's really cool. The SEA, what does that stand for again, Brian? The Society
of Explorers and Adventurers.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So it's really cool. The last time Kristen and I were there, we got to sit in the butterfly booth, which is really cool. Like just being able to it's basically a booth that has just a bunch of butterflies. I don't know what that process is. Like they basically just like took a butterfly and put it in a like a shadow box, but it's just like
pin it down or whatever.
Yeah. It's just like a wall full of them. So it was really cool. Plus the food is really good, and Jungle Cruise is a really awesome ride. So
yes, I have not had the opportunity to eat there yet. It's hard with my family. I don't think they would go for much of what's on that menu, but one of these days I'm going to get there because it does look really good, and I would love to see the theming that's going on there.
It's also kind of a hidden gem too, because I feel like not a lot of people know about it. And it's kind of like hidden in that like area of Adventureland. So yeah,
it's kind of near Sunshine Tree Terrace. It's hidden back in there a little bit. But it's hidden gem is right, because like you can get a seat pretty easily at that place. So it's not as well known, and maybe it's because of the menu. I'm not sure, but it's one of the places that I think you could actually say is a good spot to eat in Magic Kingdom, which there aren't many. So, at least in my opinion.
And we're just going to backtrack for a second. Tammy Lewis says the bowls are amazing too, and what she means is at Satuli Canteen you can get these combination bowls of noodles and proteins and stuff like that. And yes, I agree, Tammy. Those bowls are that's usually what I get as a bowl and a cheeseburger pod. So,
yeah, and you build them yourself. You can make those bowls up on your own. So, yeah. All right. So my next one, I'm gonna keep with the quick service, and I'm going with Captain Cook's over at the Polynesian.
Okay. Yeah.
The first time that when we went for spring break in 2019, we parked the car, I'm sorry, I'm getting my time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 2021, we stayed at the Contemporary. The first thing we did was actually leave the Contemporary and head over to the Polynesian for dinner. And we walked in and found coconut meatballs and rice that were amazing. And they had a noodle bowl that was really good. They just have so many good things to choose from there. I could eat a lot of meals there, but the coconut meatballs were definitely the star. I would recommend going there for a lunch or a dinner anytime. If you're there to go to Ohana, or if you want to go there and try to eat at Tambu Lounge instead of in Ohana, and Tambu Lounge is too busy, I really think Captain Cook's is another great option. You can get food there. You can get a drink over at the Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace, and have a really good time and a really good meal. And so, that's definitely a top 10 for me.
Yeah, I agree too. There have been a lot of times where we've gone over to the Polynesian, just kind of like in the middle of the day when we were at Magic Kingdom, and we'll get food at Captain Cook's, and we'll just kind of like sit outside at one of the tables. And I've had times where I've been sitting there, just been like, this is so cool. Like we're just chilling here at the Polynesian. We're eating this food. The weather's amazing. I have those realizations a lot when I'm at Polynesian. I like it a lot. But yeah, I would totally agree. I wasn't too keen on those coconut mushrooms. Or not mushrooms, coconut meatballs. I don't know why. I like coconut and I like meatballs, but I think I like the different parts of them. What's different about them is what I like. So I wasn't too into those coconut mushrooms, but they have a lot of other things. Their breakfast is actually really good too. Kristen loves to get the Tonga toast. I think there's like a huge flatbread that you can get for breakfast. So that's been something where if we're going to go to Magic Kingdom and we don't really need to get there for rope drop right away, we'll go and get breakfast at Captain Cook's and then go into the park.
When do you not need to get there for rope drop?
We have annual pass now, so we don't necessarily have to get there for rope drop and be the last people out.
Okay. All right. That's a foreign idea to me. I need to be there open to close, man. But yeah, coconut meatballs, it's a creamy coconut sauce that they have on there. And when it gets mixed in with that rice and stuff, I think it's amazing. Teach their own, because we did not like the Tonga toast. When we were staying there in February, almost all of us ordered Tonga toast the first time we were eating breakfast there, and only Mia enjoyed it. The rest of us did not. So, like I said, to each their own. It was just rubbery and hard to cut through the crust part of it. Like the center seemed okay, but it was just texture wise not something appealing to us. So
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go onto my list. My number 8 on my top 10 dining list is, and this, I might get some backlash on this, people don't freak out. It is Be Our Guest.
I don't know why that would, I mean, people do have their say about it, right? But I mean, it is a signature dining experience, and you do get to see the beast, and I think the theming in that place is awesome. So I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that would say that Be Our Guest is overrated and you don't get enough food for how much you pay. And I disagree. You actually, so it's funny because each plate seems like it's not a lot of food, but don't you get like 5 courses within the meal?
It might be. You're the one that ate there.
Yeah. I've been there several times. But yeah, you have all of these courses, and I've never felt like I needed to eat more after eating at Be Our Guest. So I've never had an issue with that. Tammy Lewis has something to say. Tammy says, "Food, meh, atmosphere, awesome, worth going just for that." I would agree. And talking about the atmosphere there, one of the coolest things, and I've always wanted to have this happen, is they have the main ballroom, and they have a video wall in the back that shows the outside of the castle, and it's snowing, and it's just slowly snowing, and I think that's one of the coolest things, to kind of like that really puts you into the story of that you're at Beast Castle. Not to mention that it would never snow in Florida, so that's cool too. But yeah, there are a bunch of different areas that you can go eat also. There's the Rose Room, which has the Beast's Rose and everything. And then there's another, I can't remember what this other room is because it's probably the worst room. I always forget what it's called. But yeah, there are just the theming, and I'd have to say out of all of the themed areas, this one's probably themed the most because it really kind of puts you into Beauty and the Beast, like you're in the story. So I think it's really cool, and I've never had an issue with the food. I think the food is very good. I wouldn't put it above a bunch of other things, but I've never had an issue with the food.
Well, and her food, Matt, that's coming from when we ate there for breakfast, way back when they still had breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree, it was fine. I mean, they were charging a ton, and so we just got one breakfast and shared it because I think it was $25 for breakfast, and we didn't need that. But it got us in there, it got us a chance to see everything. The Forbidden Room in the West End, that's where the Rose is. Yeah, that was so cool because it would storm in there. You can see the petals falling off of the rose. That is definitely the best room in there. But the dining, the main, I don't know, the ballroom, I guess is what you called it. Like that was really neat to see too. But that at the time was where they had all of the soda machines, people, going and getting their soda, and a lot of movement going on in that room. So you didn't really spend a lot of time in there. You just kind of wanted to get to wherever you were going. You didn't really have a desire to sit there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was more of a quick service breakfast for us, so we could move around a little more freely, I think, than maybe you did when you were having dinner.
Yeah.
All right, enough on that one. So I am going to go next with Sleepy Hollow.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes. And I'm, so far I'm going quick serve with my top 10. I promise you I'm getting to the table service, but Sleepy Hollow is a quick service off to the left of the castle. It's just as you start entering into Liberty Square, and they have waffle sandwiches that are incredible. They have one that they serve for breakfast that is Nutella and fresh fruit. It is a must. Every time we're in the Magic Kingdom, we have to go there and get one. They do serve it for breakfast, but if you ask nicely later in the day, if they don't have that menu out anymore, they will still serve that to you. So definitely go check that out. It's like I said, it's a must do for us. They also have a sweet and spicy chicken that's like a fried chicken in a sweet sauce and spicy that they fold up into a waffle as well. Excellent. It's got like a slaw type of topping on it that I had one of those and loved it. Had to steal some of the fruit Nutella waffle from my wife, and I tell everyone to go there. So definitely.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to my wife, Kristen. This would 100% be on her top 10 list. Probably just because of the Nutella waffle. I think we get that every time we're in the park. It's so good. And yeah, it's honestly this place rocks mainly just because of the Nutella waffle. And I would agree. It's really good. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think they might have some other things there. I don't even know. I just know waffles are excellent.
I know. Yeah. There's only a few things. I've had the chicken waffle before too, and that's pretty good. But the star of the show is definitely the Nutella fruit waffle.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So my number 7 on my top 10 dining list is Via Napoli. Now, I've already been in the sit down realm, but this is one that's like we're starting to get kind of like up there in that echelon. And honestly, I have to say, halfway through, probably more than halfway through my experience at Via Napoli, probably wouldn't have been on my top 10 list. It was so interesting when I was eating my pizza and I was just like, what do people see in this? Cause it's like, it was a good pizza. It it was decent pizza, but like it wasn't that like, oh my god, like you have to go try this pizza in like Disney World. I got one of the meat pizzas that they had there, and I was just like underwhelmed. Like it was like, honestly, like not on par with those puffy pizzas that you get at the resorts and stuff like that. Probably just like definitely decently over that, but like wasn't some of the best pizza I've eaten before. So I was like, like this is like super underwhelming and everything. And then I had Kristen's margarita pizza, and I was like, this is the pizza everyone's talking about, because that pizza tasted so fresh. Like you could taste all the ingredients. Everything tasted like extremely fresh and extremely good. There was so much flavor in it, and I was just like, this is the pizza that everybody raves about. And because of that, it's on my top 10 list. Now, I mean, there's more things to Via Napoli. Just kind of like the theming in general, and kind of like being in Italy and like being in this, like, it's so funny how you walk into like these pavilions and you go all the way back to the back of the pavilion and you're like, oh, okay, well, like that's about it. And then you walk into Via Napoli and you're like, oh my God, there's so much more. Like you would never think that there was like all of this space and everything back there. But it's really cool. The pizza ovens look like giant mouths, and that's really cool.
They have a name for it. They have names. Stromboli.
Yeah.
And,
yep.
I think, or I mean, it's after, because one of them is Vesuvius, I believe. So
they're after volcanoes.
I think so. I think that's what it is.
Cool. Yeah, I knew that. I don't know the names. But just like the Italian theming in general, they also have, it's pretty cool. They have this giant table, up front where I think they'll just like seat like groups and stuff like that. And the group that was sitting there, I'm pretty sure it was like a business meeting, because like a bunch of people had laptops out and they were like having a big discussion. And I was like, could you just imagine like, oh, like let's have our business meeting at Epcot at Via Napoli. Like just on a random day, like, hey guys, meet at Via Napoli and Epcot for the business meeting. That was one thing that I thought was hilarious when I was there, and I was like, can this be my life? Like, can I just have business meetings at Via Napoli?
Yeah, I want that too.
Right.
That'd be great. I as you were talking, I was going out and trying to find the picture from when we went to Via Napoli, and I'll post it as long as I can get my wife's permission, because it does have a little bit of a funny face from her in it. But there is meat on our pizza. It's huge, like it's like a good 16-inch pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But it is more of a thin crust, I guess you could say. I see mushrooms and cheese and maybe some pepperoni. So we got the meat one, like I think we had prosciutto on there too, and I just remember it being amazing. I loved it. We did a wine flight with it. They have a lot of great wines, and Tammy picked that one because I'm not a wine guy, but I did enjoy the wine she picked. So I think it's a great place to go, and if you can get a reservation, we were lucky enough that we walked up as two people and were able to get a table awfully quick. And I believe Tammy and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago already. So that, it's great. And that was on my top 10 as well. So we'll mark that one off. And when we're ready, you can go on with your next one. But yeah, Via Napoli is definitely a place to check out. Yeah, they bring in the water from Pittsburgh to make that pizza, because the Pittsburgh water is the same make as they would get in Italy. So whatever that is, but yeah, thought that was
interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your next one, and then we'll keep it going back and forth?
Okay. Yeah. So Via Napoli was one of mine. I think I'll jump into Boma.
Ooh.
Yes, Boma. Some like to call it a meat buffet. It is in the Animal Kingdom Lodge, so it gives you a reason to go over there. You can see all of those animals out on the safari that they have at the lodge or savannah, forgive me. Um, but it's a all you can eat buffet, and it is excellent. They not only have the typical salad and maybe some mac and cheese for the kids or chicken tenders, but they also have some more traditional African dishes that why not have them on a buffet, because it gives you the opportunity to try it. They if I know my family really enjoyed the squash soup that they have. I'm not one for squash, so it was whatever, but they really enjoyed it. Yep. Tammy's chiming in right now. Squash soup is so good. um, uh, yeah, and they have all kinds of different meats that, if nothing else, if you enjoy steak, you've got a good selection of different things. So I've always heard everyone say that it's a great buffet. It's got a lot of different options. If you want to be adventurous, they've got that. If you want to be tame, you like your certain things, they've got that. And then, of course, the kids section is made for kids, so they've got a little bit of that African flair, but they also have the typical, like I said, chicken tenders, mac and cheese, maybe some pizza that they would put in the kids section. So the thing about Boma is everyone was talking about zebra domes. I didn't get it. The zebra domes are, I don't know, not worth it for me to go running to find. I know some people love them though.
Yeah. We had those zebra domes too, and it's like, honestly, I thought they were going to be bigger than they were. Because when we got there, I feel like I thought they were going to be like one of those like mini cakes, but they're not like that.
No, they're like a truffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we didn't really get it either. Like they're good, but like, yeah, it's just a typical treat at Disney. This was one that I actually kind of forgot that we went to, which, to be fair then, I mean, it was very memorable and it was very good, but it obviously didn't keep it top of mind for me. But yes, when I went there, honestly, probably one of the better buffets at Disney. But when I went there, I had meat dessert. That's where you eat your food, like you eat all your regular courses, and then for dessert, you have more meat. It's my favorite kind of dessert.
Like I said, it's a meat buffet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people that that's a good place to check out too. We hit it at the end of a day at Animal Kingdom, and it was perfect because we were all just starving when we went there. And the lodge is right across the street from Animal Kingdom, so it's easy to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went there when we were very tired. We were very tired at the. Actually, I think we even took a nap and then went to Boma. We were still very tired. But yeah, I remember that. I was kind of like in a daze, just kind of like going and getting my food and everything. But it was very good.
Yeah, Kyle chimes in, meat dessert, yes, please.
Meat dessert, yes.
I never thought about that. I'll have to remember that one next time.
Remember, you always got to remember that meat dessert. Okay, so my number 6 on my top 10 dining list, and this may be another one that is not controversial, but people might be like, huh, interesting. And that's San Angel Inn. Kristen and I have been pretty high on San Angel Inn recently. We've gone there now multiple times, and just always had a really good time there. So this one, I mean, the Mexican food there is kind of like, I mean, it's definitely like authentic Mexican, but it's, I mean, it doesn't knock your socks off. What knocks your socks off at this place is two things. One is the amazing theming that they have. Not only is that whole area themed, you're inside of the pyramid in Mexico. But also you've got the boat ride, the Mexico boat ride, just going right next to where all the tables are. And so that is really cool. We love that. We love the fact that there's a ride that goes by. It's kind of like the Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm forgetting what that place was called.
I was going to bring that up. Blue Bayou,
yep. Yeah, it's very similar to that.
And I was going to bring that up. When I created the description for the show today, I had mentioned we would talk some Disneyland, and then I think our lists are all Disney World. But the Blue Bayou is one thing that I put in the description, and the food was but the theming is terrific.
Yep.
And I think San Angel is kind of the same thing, where the theming is amazing. I mean, you're in the middle of like a street market, and then you're sitting down to eat, and like you said, the boat goes by, and it's a lot the same as Blue Bayou, where Blue Bayou at Disneyland, you're on the like the swamps of the, I guess, and the
Bayou.
pirates, and the pirates are going by. The pirate ride is going by, and so a lot of it's the same. The food at Blue Bayou didn't live up to what I wanted it to be, though.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it was one of those for me at Disneyland that it was like, okay, I have to go here. Like, Walt was, very much a part of creating that restaurant. So I had to go there. And I'm glad I did. I don't know that I would go again. But San Angel, I ate there 20 years ago on my honeymoon. We had a great time. Loved the theming. Really enjoyed. I don't remember the food being bad. I thought it was good. So, anytime someone has said, "Oh, San Angel, don't go there. It's not good." I've always wondered why. We enjoyed it. So,
yeah, and so the second reason that this is high on my list is the tequila that you can get there. I've had some of the most amazing tequila I've ever had at San Angel Inn. I'm pretty sure you can also get the drink that I got at La Cava. But I'll tell you this story. We were at San Angel, and we wanted to get drinks. And I asked the guy, I was just like, what's the best tequila that you guys have here? And he was like, oh, that'll be this one. I think he said the name. He said the name of it, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll have that. And then later I looked, and it was like a $30 drink, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, this is why that guy said that. But it was cool because it came with like a nitrogen bubble on top, which was really cool. So I was like, okay, like this might be worth it. But then I drank the actual drink, and it was the first time I had ever enjoyed tequila. I have never been a tequila connoisseur. I've had friends buy me tequila. I had a friend buy me a tequila and tonic and not tell me that that's what he got me, and I was just like, oh my god! But this drink opened me up to tequila because it was decent tequila, and it was smooth, and it was really good. So yeah, that's also why San Angel is pretty high on my list, because you can get that amazing tequila there.
Well, and La Cava is right there too, right? So you can pick up a lot of tequila drinks in there if you want. So they have all of that at their disposal, I'm sure. So yeah, I think anything in, I love going in that Mexico pavilion, and maybe on our next trip we need to eat there again. That would be fun.
Yes.
Okay. I suppose you want my next one, huh? I got to go through this list. I didn't have it.
Yep, you are up. Unless you want me to do my my next one.
No, that's okay. Let's go with Yak and Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yak and Yeti over at the Animal Kingdom back in the Asia area. It's excellent. We went there and it opened us up to eating in Indian food here at home because of how good it is. And I know people rave about their lobster nachos, I believe it is. I don't recall having them, but I know people really like those. And we got chicken, what is it called?
It's like the tikka masala.
Tikka masala. That's what. Yes, we had that. It was excellent. Yeah. So I would recommend that place as well. And I heard someone on the live stream today talking about going there, and if you're a smaller party, possibly getting just seats at the bar. They have a little lounge in there that you can just get right in. So consider that, I guess, as an option. But I have given families the option of Tusker House or Yak and Yeti. Hello, Moo.
This is my Great Dane, everybody. Say hi to the stream, Moo. She just had to come and say hi.
Yeah. But I have given them the option of Tusker House or Yak and Yeti, and they have chosen Yak and Yeti because it fit better for their family. And that's kind of one of the things about Tusker House is that you look at that menu and it's, again, kind of like Boma, where they have a lot of African flavors. Yak and Yeti has more flavors that you can relate to, that people are used to seeing. They have a rice, fried rice. They have some Chinese type of dishes, but this is Indian flavors. So I love it. And Tammy's jumping in here. The walk-up counter right outside. Yeah, there's a quick service attached to it as well. It's really good. You can get their chicken fried rice and some other things from it as well. So, Yak and Yeti is a great spot in the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, I would agree. This is another one that doesn't quite make my list, but it's definitely up there for my dining experiences. We had a great time, and we do enjoy Indian food. So my next one, where for me now, this top 5 is getting up to the upper echelon. Oh yeah, and then Brian, remind me. I did my list for Disneyland, but if we want to talk about, or for Disney World, but if we want to talk about Disneyland, I've got, honestly, my list would be the same except for my number 1. Something else would bump everything down. I'll talk about that. That'll be my honorable mention.
There you go.
Anyways, so my number 5 is Boathouse. Boathouse. It was the first time I ever had steak Oscar style, and it was amazing. It was so good. The only thing, so Boathouse is driven by the food. The food at Boathouse is so good.
Oh God, it's so good.
Unless you're sitting kind of like on the water, I've never really or if you're sitting in like literally the boat that they have there.
Yeah.
The theming is just kind of like take it or leave it. It just kind of feels like a place that I could go, like here, like in my hometown or something like that. Obviously with some different areas that are themed pretty decently. But for the most part, like theming here is not as themed as a bunch of these other places. However, the food at Boathouse is so good. And yeah, it's another note is that this is at Disney Springs. So, it is kind of like, I mean, there's lots of places to eat there. And so it is kind of like like just kind of like a typical place that you could go to eat. But it's definitely one of the better spots that you can eat at Disney Springs.
I still think about that meal. Boathouse, if I was putting it, it might be my number one.
Wow,
really.
yeah.
That meal was incredible. I got the seafood boil that was just amazing. My I think Mia and I know my mother-in-law got a steak, I believe, and my wife may have also gotten the steak. It just melts in your mouth, just an excellent steak. But they also have an oyster bar, and they have a shrimp bar, I guess you could say, like, and they're $5 a piece. So it's like, they better be good. And oh my goodness, like that, those oysters were so good. And the shrimp were amazingly huge and delicious. Like, a lot of times you get a shrimp and you eat it in one bite, regardless the size even, right? These were so big, they were 3 bites for me. And I could cut them in half. Like, we had gotten, I think, 5, and somebody didn't want theirs, so I was able to cut it into pieces for the 4 of us to share it. Like, you just don't do that with shrimp very often. So these things were incredible. And then you get the food on top of it. And the baked potato, I think, was as big as my head. And that's no lie. Like, this was, they do shareable sides for most of the entrees that they have. So we ordered a mac and cheese and we ordered a baked potato. Oh my gosh. I'm not kidding. Like, that baked potato was like this big. And for those of you just listening, I've got my hands, you can see my head in between it.
Yes.
Like, it's huge.
Can confirm. Yep.
Yeah. Like, it, yeah. It was, I have never seen a potato that big. So, but yes, Boathouse is well worth the money. And, we got there, we had a reservation for 6:00 and they were so busy. I think it was 20 minutes later though. So, I always say, try to get to your reservation early. They'll have an easier time getting you in. And we might have been there a little bit earlier too. I'm having trouble remembering, but they were a little behind. They told us that right up front. We're a little behind, so it'll be a little bit of a wait. But yeah, and if you can sit outside, like all of their outside, I guess, is first come first serve. It's not reservable, but their dining room, like, I couldn't believe how far back it went. There's a second bar in there. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I had no idea that there's a second bar in the back of that dining room. Yeah, I could go on and on and on about the Boathouse. I can't wait to go back there.
Yeah, I need to go back there. I had Boathouse a while ago. This was like probably like 8 years ago, probably now at this point. And it's still super high on my list. And it sounds like I stole one from you, Brian. Is that right?
In Boathouse?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you did. Absolutely. But that's okay. That's okay.
It's okay. Okay, I'll let you go next.
Okay. Boathouse.
Let's talk about it again.
Yeah, it's that good. I don't know why it's so low on your list. I'm curious to see what you have left. I'm gonna go with Whispering Canyon Cafe. We had an excellent time there, didn't we?
We did.
You drank a gallon of Diet Coke.
He's not kidding, people. I drank a gallon of Diet Coke.
And he had Depends on the rest of the day. No, that was just a joke that the waitress had made. And we talked about Whispering Canyon on a show a couple of episodes ago, so I won't get into it too much, but it was so good and so much fun. we were at dinner last night, and I said to Mia, I said, "Can you pass me the ketchup, please?" And she goes, "You got to say it." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You got to say it." I'm like, "Okay, it." No, you got to say it. And I'm like, she's like, like at Whispering Canyon. And I'm like, "Oh, we need ketchup." That's what she wanted me to do. I didn't yell it though, but yeah, it's a really, really fun time.
Yeah, this is actually Kristen and mine. That was our second time going there. We actually had the same server, and she's awesome. She was so great. And yeah, I finally got my gallon of Diet Coke. That's what I wanted. The first time I went, because Brian, I think you told me about if you ask for like a large, they'll bring you like a really big glass. Mm-hmm. The first time that I went, she brought me a regular glass, and I was like, oh, okay. And I just kind of started drinking it, and then she brought me another one and another one and another. All of a sudden I had like probably like 10 Diet Cokes just like sitting there. So it's like, it brought me a lot of Diet Coke, which is what I wanted, but I wanted it in just like a big, like a huge container. And that's what I finally got. So I was happy about that.
It was a gallon mason jar, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that's an interesting one, go back a couple of episodes and you can find Whispering Canyon Cafe, our full review on it. It was so much fun.
So my number 4 on my top 10 list is Topolino's Terrace. This is one that I recently got to go to. And the story behind this is Kristen and I were at Epcot. It was the day before we were about to leave, and my parents were flying in that afternoon. So we texted them, and we were just like, "Hey, do you guys want to have dinner anywhere?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, like we'll get in around this time. You guys just tell us where to go." So we started to kind of like look at reservations, and we were in Epcot, so we were like, "Oh, like let's take a look at Topolino's and see if they have any tables." And luckily for us, they had some openings. So we made the reservation, not knowing what we were actually getting ourselves into. Topolino's, and we didn't know this, Topolino's is fancy, like fancy pants fancy. And we were dressed in our park fare. Like we were dressed as if, well, we spent the whole day at the park. So we show up, and we had to wait for my parents for a little bit, and we like stuck our heads into the dining room, and we were like, we are not dressed for this. Like I would put the ambiance on par with California Grill, where like it felt very elegant. Of course, the cast members are always fine with what you're wearing, unless it's raggedy or you're dirty or you're wearing swimming attire. But we still felt weird. I told the cast members, I was like, we are so underdressed for this. Somehow my parents were dressed for the occasion. Apparently they just dress up nice when they fly. So that's nice. But so there's that. It was extremely elegant. The service was amazing. Again, kind of on par with California Grill, with all of this, but the food was so good. They had so many different entrees. We all decided to get the steak, and then Kristen ended up getting the scallop because she's still on the search for the perfect scallop that she's had. She's just trying to recreate it. But we ate our food. My parents were just raving the entire time. There's a steakhouse in Wisconsin, in Madison and Milwaukee, called Rare, that people like to go to, and it's real expensive, and the food's really good. My parents kept saying like, "Oh, this is so much better than Rare. It's amazing." So the food was just so good. I kind of can't wait to go back there and try more of the food. Because I mean, I just got steak because I was like, okay, like, well, typically I'll just get steak because it's a good go-to for me. But now it's made me want to try more of their menu, because it's just, we had such a good time there, and we weren't ready for it. We weren't ready for it to be that good and that elegant, obviously, because we made these reservations just as like let's just get reservations to like have dinner at this random spot. But we were not ready at all for what we experienced. So Topolino's Terrace as my number 4.
You're on number 4. I think I only have a couple left because you keep stealing
I
them
know.
all.
Yeah.
Ohana.
Well, there's your first steal on me.
Well, finally. Ohana is excellent. I had not done dinner until this last trip, and it was so good. You know, I've told people the chicken and the steak that you get as the last course, I guess, well, not the last course, but the last savory course. It wasn't all that for me, but those chicken wings and those noodles, like those were awesome, and I should have just gotten more of that and kept getting more of it. But you definitely get your fill of food at that place. And the ambiance is fun. They've got a guy walking around playing the ukulele, and the everyone's your cousin, you know. So we had an excellent time. It was great, and we were there during Happily Ever After. They pumped in the music. We did not have a view of the fireworks from where we were, and we didn't get up. We were enjoying the food too much. But having Happily Ever After soundtrack playing over it, we were singing along. We had such a great time, and I loved it. I wish I could have eaten there a second time.
Yeah, Kristen and I have gone to Ohana a lot. Actually, I think it's probably the restaurant that we've been to the most. Actually, Satuli Canteen is up there. But we love it there. This is the second time that we've gone during fireworks, and even not having a view, like you said, is so cool. Just to sit there and listen to the music as it's piped in, and all of the courses. I think that the chicken is very good, even though it's got the sauce on it has cilantro in it. So like if you get the chicken and it hasn't been like with the sauce hasn't been like cooked in, you really kind of get that cilantro bite. But I've had it before where like you really can't taste the cilantro all that much. And then the steak is, every so often you'll get a skewer that like they kind of overdid. And I think we got a few of those, but the steak is still very good. And like Brian said, the chicken wings, so good. The noodles are so good. And it's just the ambiance is interesting because it feels very busy. And I think it's the only one to me that kind of feels that way, that it feel like everything feels very busy. But I think they do that on purpose to make it kind of feel like this big family, this like big like luau gathering. So I think that's like they do that on purpose. But that does kind of like, it doesn't dumb down the elegance. Well, I guess it does kind of dumb down the elegance, but the food and the experience and everything really kind of makes up for it. Because it's not supposed to be this like real grand, elegant dining. It's supposed to be kind of like a luau. So I really enjoy it. And just the smell, anywhere you go at the Polynesian, like you can typically smell Ohana.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, it's fun. It's a luau type of feel. The grill is right in the middle of the dining room, so that you do see them cooking that food, and so you have the flames and so you get that kind of luau feeling as well. So, and of course you got Tambaloo Lounge right there, and they do offer the same menu from there. You can get any of those tropical drinks that you like, right at your table. So. Excellent place.
Cool. So I'm going to my number 3 on my top 10. Brian, you took my number 2. But now going to number 3, and that is Le Cellier. Now, Le Cellier has really great theming. Le Cellier is in Canada, which is honestly one of my favorite countries at Epcot. I always feel like I probably should have or could live in Canada. Just I have a kindred spirit to Canadians, mainly because I play hockey. That's kind of just it. But Le Cellier is a steakhouse in Canada. Probably one of the better, if not the best, steakhouse on property. They have an amazing beer cheese soup that is so good. It's insane how good this beer cheese soup is, and the theming there is very, very cool. It makes you feel like you're in Canada at a steakhouse. It's so cool. And the steaks there are quite a few to choose from, and they're all cooked perfectly. And the sides are all really good. Most recently we had kind of a weird experience there, mainly only because we were kind of like at a table pushed to the side. We were over by like one of the doors, but the food was all really good. And the atmosphere is still great. And just the steaks. If you want a good steak cooked really well, go to Le Cellier. Oh my God. So good. Yeah, it's hard not to put Le Cellier super high on my list. So,
well, I completely agree with that. When I was there 20 years ago on my honeymoon, it was very good. I definitely need to go back there sometime. Because, like you said, it was excellent. The theming was really neat, and the bread service at the beginning I thought was really cool too.
Yes.
So I think that brings us to our shared number 1.
Yeah, we know.
And I'd say we should say it together, but I'm sure we'll mess that up. But it is California Grill. See, we messed it up.
It was perfect on my end.
Oh, all right. California Grill, though, I've professed about California Grill in this show for 3 years now, and 3.5. Gosh, it's April of 24. We've been doing that for that long, man.
Yep.
Anyway, California Grill it's a vibe. Is that what the kids say? It's a vibe.
I don't know if they say it anymore, but yes, you're using it correctly.
Having dinner. I was thinking about this the other day. Getting to have dinner with you and Kristen, back in December, was excellent. We got there just in time to go out onto the balcony and watch fireworks, and then had this excellent meal. I loved everything I had, and I even had a drink that I just nursed the heck out of it because it was so good, right? So, yeah, it's such an experience. I've talked about taking Tammy there on one of our anniversaries, and it was perfect. Getting to watch fireworks right from our table. I would gladly do that again anytime. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more to say, but I know you do.
Well, it's just, so when I say elegant dining, and I've said that a couple times now with like Topolino's, but yeah, it's just elegant dining. It's just so, it just feels so top notch. It's really like quintessential Disney dining. And when we went, we got to pick what type of water you get. It's just very, very much elegant dining at its best at Disney. And not only that, but the food is all amazing. I don't think I've ever gotten something there that I've been like, nah, I don't really like this. Like, it's all been very, very good. And also just being at the top of oh God, what's the hotel? I'm blanking. Contemporary. How did I blank on Contemporary? Just being at the top of Contemporary is just that alone is very cool. We went during the 50th and they had a bunch of like old school pictures up there, and like they showed you what it looked like when Disney first opened. So there's just a lot of history up there, and just the service is amazing. And you get to, when the fireworks go off, they have these cool little areas that you can go outside and watch the fireworks, and they pump the music in and everything. It's just so cool. It's so good, and it's an amazing experience. I've been lucky enough to go twice, and I'm sure I will go plenty times more. But yeah, that's definitely my number one.
Totally agree. It's when you were talking about fireworks, like they understood that was going to happen, and that they just waited for us. And then after the fireworks, there was no rush to leave either. It was just, what do you want to eat type of thing right then. Like it wasn't. They weren't rushing us out of there. So.
Well, it looks like Tamala said that we hit everything on her list except for 2. So good job. If you guys if you're still with us, let us know if we didn't hit something that you like in the chat, and we can talk about it. But I'm sure, Tammy, you can give us your 2. But if we are doing this list with Disneyland, this was something that I thought of when we talked about Blue Bayou. Everything would probably be actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. It's gonna be a tie between California Grill for number 1 and Napa Rose at Disneyland. Napa Rose, I mean, honestly, the vibe and the service and the experience on par with California Grill. I think I like the ambiance of California Grill better than Napa Rose, but the food is some of the most amazing food I've ever had in my life at Napa Rose. Just course after course was just like, how did they make this? So that's going to be my my shout out at the end. My what's it called? The
honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my honorable mention, and if I had to, I would tie it with California Grill. I've said this before. If I could take the California Grill ambiance with the Napa Rose food, that would be like the perfect Disney dining experience. So, if you're out in Disneyland and you haven't had Napa Rose before, go have it. But understand you're going to be spending some money.
Tammy chimed in. She said, Artist Point, which I forgot about. I don't know how I could forget about that, but that is a character meal with the Evil Queen, Snow White, and Grumpy and Dopey, and it was so much fun, and the food was excellent. That is by far the best character meal I've done on property, because of how good that food is. So definitely check that one out. And Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, we had a great time there. And Tammy and I had a drink there one afternoon that was really, really good too.
Yeah, I would say some things that I left off my list is Garden Grill. I thought the food was really good at Garden Grill. I just couldn't. It's so funny how everybody's like, oh, you don't even feel it. Like, you don't even feel that you're moving. But like, for some reason, I could feel it, and I understood that we were moving, and it just kind of like tainted my whole experience. So if California Grill was, or not if California Grill, if Garden Grill was just didn't move, I think I'd like it a lot better.
Yeah, you could definitely feel that. Well, for you guys, I know. For me, there was a point where it would always kind of stick, and that's when you guys would really start to complain, like, "Oh, it's really that," like I don't know. But I've been lucky enough not to have those issues. So,
Yeah.
But that's a quite extensive list that you had there. We had there. So,
Yes.
good stuff. Thanks everyone for commenting. Kyle, Tammy, thank you for helping us out with this list. Again, if you are listening and care to let us know about anything, Kyle's throwing something out while I'm trying to close this down, so we gotta throw that in there. Going to Disney for the first time next February. You guys got me excited to start looking into the food. Boathouse sounds great. I'm telling you, Kyle,
Boathouse.
do it. Yes. Like, don't even sounds great. It is great, and you're gonna go there. So
100%.
yes. So anyway, Kyle and Tammy, thank you for commenting. If you guys are listening to this or watching it after the live recording, please let us know in the comments what we missed. We want to know. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Miles from Main Street, and we'd love to have the conversation with you there. And it's been great having you back, Mikhailo. So thanks everyone for being here. Hit that like button. Anyway, yeah, Mikhailo. Hey, thanks. Glad to have you back.
Like and subscribe. But like we always say, some live close,
But others don't.
so let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.